This is Sneaker Gears. My name is Levi, and welcome to another episode of Performance Gears. And this is one that I didn't think I would be doing. It's not a shoe I was excited to try, but I feel as someone who is a few inches taller and probably 80 pounds over Nightwing, I did want to give it a full review for all my big footers out there, all my big men out there, so at least you know what you're buying. So today, we're looking at a full performance review of the Lebron 17, as well as comparing it to its contemporary, the Lebron 16, both the low and the high. So, let's see what we got. Alright, so starting with the most important aspect of the shoe, and that's the fit and the upper. I can definitely tell you the fit posit on this, although not new, this is definitely reminds me a lot of what they did with the Kobe 9. Works. This is definitely the best iteration that we've seen from the Lebron 15, 16, and now the 17. As far as it does feel premium, it feels very comfortable. It offers a lot of containment. The lockdown is nice. Overall, I did enjoy the materials, but there's a lot of caveats in there. One, it does run about a quarter size short. Now, that being said, I am a 12. I've been a 12 in the Lebron 14, 15, 16, probably even before that. So the Lebrons have fit me pretty true to size with size 12 with a wide footer. And I did try on this in a 12 and it was just super snug. All of this, just the toe box, the midfoot. So a 12 and a half would have been perfect. At most shoe stores and at Nike Town, 12 and a half is just hard to find. It doesn't exist. Went with the 13, and because of the cushion setup, obviously being a little bit longer, where these pods are, where this gap is, just would not work. I could not do a 13. A 12 and a half might have been just right, but I decided let me go with the 12. This is a size 12, which is the same size as my 16s. And like I said, a lot of the Lebrons before that, and I just had faith that the knit was going to break in. Now, the break-in process and my testing procedure are a little different for this shoe, and I'll go over that right now. Normally, I give a shoe about 12 to 15 hours of play and play on 5 different courts just to give it a full break-in process where I pretty much only wear it on court. For these, because it's a shoe I wasn't really excited to play in, and obviously I think has a lot of off-court flair. This is one I wore for 3 days. 2 of those days I wore it through the day casually to really break it in because it was tight. So I have about 16 hours of wear casually, just walking around, giving it a chance to break in. The first 2 days I actually went to the sauna with the shoes on to help break it in with the heat. Had 2 plays, and the third day obviously played again. I have about 6 hours or just under of play on these on 3 different courts. So not the full testing procedure, but enough where I definitely still feel confident and give you guys either what you would consider my initial review or really the full review, and we'll get into the results later. With all that said, I can tell you if you're a wide footer, it breaks in enough. The midfoot section here, the toe box, it does give. It starts to mold to your foot. I can't tell you it's wide foot friendly, and I'm not going to tell you that it ended up fitting amazing. Like the KD12, this is definitely a shoe I was looking forward to taking off, whether that was at the end of the day or the end of playing. It wasn't something where the fit was fantastic. Now, the fit was better. I think the containment was better than both the 16 and the 17 as far as the materials and they used. The lengthwise, it's about a quarter size short. So definitely, like I said, a 12 and a half probably would be right, and maybe that changes the fit a little bit. Another key thing to note is that they changed on this. The Lebron 16s, the biggest issues they had was right here in the heel area. The Lebron 16, I think, had a bigger issue. If you had a narrow heel, you just experienced some heel slippage, even if the shoe fit just right. The 16 low, I think they did a little better job as far as how they cut it out, the cushions that they used, but some players still, if you had thinner heels or a thinner ankle, would deal with heel slip, and that's something they completely corrected on this model. Also, one thing to note on the Lebron 16, especially the low, this material was not knit. It was much more performance based as far as it being lighter, actually being a little bit stronger, but because of the stability, the traction, and the knit all being strong, if you cut hard, if you jabbed hard, if you stopped hard, I'm not the only one, as I had just a friend of mine recently ask me, hey, are you noticing pain around your pinky area and the toes of your foot, you know, any kind of hard stops? And I'm like, yeah, that's one of the reasons I don't wear it all the time, just because this shoe is so aggressive. When you stop, the traction bites, the stability is on point, and all that brunt force is going into your foot. Now, two things that you want to have happen. One, you want to have a little bit more kind of cushion or padding like this area. Or two, you want to have a material that actually has a little bit of give, which, although in retrospect you feel like, oh man, that's not having enough strength, that little bit of give that this has allows the shoe to kind of receive those forces versus putting all that force on your foot. Now, I love this shoe, but that's something that they did correct with the Lebron 17. So overall, I would say the fit is better. So no matter if you have a thinner heel or thicker heel, you're going to be fine there. If you have a wide toe box, I think you're going to be okay. But right where this area is where the plastic starts with that flight posit. Does take break-in. I would still say go true to size, maybe go up half a size as you can, just because I wasn't able to, and I think that would alleviate some of the pressure here. One last thing to note, and we'll get a kind of a tight shot here. This stitching right there, you guys can see it here, really dug into my foot. Now, first night I wore ankle socks, second night I wore some Hyper Elite socks, and no matter what, right in this area where it spun, because it's kind of a hard stitch where it's going from kind of the softer padding and the nylon insole to the knitting, I had some areas where it just bothered me. It wasn't all the time, but it was in certain movements, certain walking. I felt like there was something in the shoe, and it's really just this really stiff stitching right in here. So if you're experiencing that, you're not alone, or if I'm the only one, then oh well, sorry. But the fit is probably the best thing on this shoe, and as you can tell, it wasn't the greatest either, so that kind of tells you about the rest of the shoe. All right, moving on to the support, and the support is broken down by 1, lockdown, 2, containment, and 3, stability. Lockdown is actually really nice in the shoe, although tying it is just really annoying, to be frank. The way the lace setup is here, and I think each colorway is going to lace slightly different, so hopefully different styles or colorways will be a little bit easier. But lockdown I think was fantastic. The heel cup and everything here really holds you in the shoe. Containment, with the way the knit posit holds you in, you definitely have some nice containment. But all that being said, and those are very good key points, the stability on the shoe is awful. Now, a very similar shoe I played in was the Jordan Supreme Elevation. That shoe had really bad containment, but playing both of them side by side, I'd rather play in that shoe, because even though the containment wasn't great, it still had a wider base. I still had really nice lockdown, and it forced me to have a better center of balance, a little more control over my footwork. This, you guys take a look here, this looks like it's a nice wide base. Look at that, look at all that black, right? You have a slight outrigger here, you can see that right there, and you're thinking, oh, you're good. But at 240 pounds, and I would say if you're probably over 210, all this black area, all this air is simply an area to cave in over the white part. Now, the white part is simply a foam, and hopefully you guys can see it here. It's pretty soft. You would think the shoe is going to be pretty comfortable. The foam used, and I don't know if you can see the indentations there, is a soft foam. So you would think it would be a little more comfortable than what it is. Let's not sneak ahead here, but stability wise, you have this giant plastic shank going all the way through. You can see how it adds a little stability here in the forefoot as well as in the heel. So on defensive movements, this should, in theory, with the outrigger, with the support, with the knit posit, hold you in and lock you in. Not happening. On any sort of movement where I was going laterally, especially defensively, where you're kind of going laterally back, you stop, you come back up, this shoe simply wanted to roll my ankle. I had zero confidence in this shoe in any aspect. On one of the one-on-one games I played with a gentleman, I did win 11-3 and 7-2. And if you're wondering, why did you guys play to 7? I was leaving and I'm like, okay, let's do one more, keep it short. Either way, all his points are scored driving to the rim, simply because I had to play way off of him, and as soon as he passed me, I'm not about to roll my ankle or get my ankles broken. And it doesn't help that the cushion and the traction are right on par with what the support is. So any kind of lateral movement, this shoe did not give me any sort of confidence or trust that it was going to back me up, especially as a bigger guy. That kind of rolls right into the cushion. All right, so the cushion is the tallest air unit ever used on a Nike basketball sneaker. That would lend you to believe that it should be the most cushioned. Now, if you're a heel to toe striker, right, so you land on your heel, you roll off, which I think LeBron is, this is probably going to be a little bit more comfortable. If you are a midfoot striker, where the air is almost ending, you have more plastic, you have nothing here, and then you go on your toes, and then you roll off your toe where there's nothing here as well, you get a less successful experience. So if you are more sprinting, if you stay in the balls of your feet and you're a faster player, this is not the shoe for you. I was not able to enjoy it. All right, so let's take things down a notch. We're not playing at 100%, 90%. We're gonna play at 50, 60%, which LeBron, for the most part, does play at half speed until it comes time to playoff time. This is one of those shoes I don't know if he's going to be using in the playoffs. I would bet against it. He's going to have either an elite version or playing the soldier version, because if you're really trying to push the pace, I don't know how he's going to use this. And if you guys notice in the preseason game that he played, which obviously he didn't play many, he was wearing his 16 lows. So the cushion on this, it is really just a nice soft foam that when you step into it is not soft at all. It's absolute letdown. It doesn't feel that plush, doesn't feel bouncy. It absorbs the impact. I want to get, when you land, this is definitely absorbing an impact, but I would much rather play in the Omni One with their fuel cell cushioning from New Balance, where I'm getting more impact absorption, I'm getting just a little bit of bounce, I'm getting better court feel, all while being lighter and lower to the court. This is not really providing anything. I'm getting a heavier, taller cushion that makes me feel slower, is giving me as much impact protection as anything else, but not much more, without being plush or without being bouncy. And you're thinking, what about the Zoom Stack? How are these? Aren't they? I mean, they're really thick. Well, if you guys take a look here, they're covered by a lot of foam. They don't really feel bouncy at all. And I just wanted to do a comparison real quick to talk to you guys about how this feels. This is the LeBron 13 Elite, and they started with their podular cushioning with the LeBron 12. This was also a very unstable feeling kind of shoe, especially on the LeBron 12, where it didn't really feel that great. On the LeBron 13 version here, we can take a look, they added these massive outriggers on each one of these sections, so you had a lot more stability. But if you guys notice here, and you can tell, all these cushion pods stick out. You didn't really feel the cushion much on this either, but as you ran, it did have a piston effect. You did feel it pushing back up, but you really did have to be pushing. This gave a similar sensation when you ran, you could almost feel it, but it still wasn't anywhere near as good as that. And don't even talk to me about the LeBron 16. The LeBron 16 is better in every way. You're able to play quicker, it absorbs impact better, it feels bouncier. These are not on the same page, and I'm shocked LeBron signed off on this shoe, because this feels kind of like going from LeBron 10 to LeBron 11, where LeBron 10 is something he loved, won the championship in. It's a shoe that's iconic, has amazing cushioning, and then he goes to LeBron 11 when he doesn't even wear the shoe. So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't wear this shoe as much this season, although I could be wrong. What he's wearing is different than what we get, so it could be tuned differently. But you barely feel the zoom pods here. And on top of that, not having cushion here or here, where obviously you want those for flex grooves, really just feels like areas of not having cushion. The execution of this is horrible, and they might stay with it for the LeBron 18 and refine it and really improve upon it, which if they do, great, because if they can execute, obviously this looks really cool. This has a lot of off-court flair. I love the way it looks, and I wanted to like it, but literally wearing it all day for 2 days, wearing it on court for 3 days, there is nothing I really enjoyed about the cushion in the shoe compared to anything else. And I'm gonna give you guys another option I think plays a little bit better along with the Lebron 16, but down to the traction. All right, traction I'm gonna keep really quick. It's same thing as the support and same thing as the cushion. It's a letdown. It didn't really stick with you. On a spin move, my foot got slipped. On a step back, my foot slipped. On a defensive movement, my foot slipped. Thankfully, I was learning to play less and less at full speed, going from 80 to 60 to probably half speed, because I already knew I couldn't depend on the shoe. Probably the worst thing you could say about a shoe. Also, the last time I took the shoe off, it was pretty much, I don't need to put more time in. Like, I'm done. The traction on this, you guys can take a look here. I'm glad it's solid rubber, because I have no idea how the clear would perform. It does feel much softer than last year, so durability is not really improved. Laterally, I think you're fine, but if you're trying to do any movements, including, I guess, like defense or coming around a screen or, you know, basketball moves, it's a traction I did not trust at all. And what's worse is we have the Lebron 16 that literally had essentially Hall of Fame traction. This is unbelievable traction that's more durable, that is locked down on any court I've played on, no matter how the conditions were. And essentially this is going to be a better shoe in every single way. The only issue that you may have with these shoes, and I guess we're wrapping up here, the Lebron 16, the fit on this, and I'll grab the regular as well. If you had issues with heel slip on the regular model, they did fix that a little bit with the low. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're having issues with the fit as far as not giving you enough protection, especially if you're playing hard, the Battle Knit does a much better job at that. If neither one of these is giving you quite the fit, that's the only issue you're going to have with this shoe, only because the traction is elite. The cushion is elite. The materials both use are fantastic. The support is really nice. But if you don't get a great fit, you don't get a great fit. Everyone's foot is a little bit different. So may I provide you another option that's going to give you similar cushion, maybe close to the greatest traction, even better support, and I can definitely tell you it will fit you. So who's guessing what shoe? What is it? Yeah. It's the Why Not 2. Guys, this shoe is already available for anywhere from $80 to $100. It's for the most part being discontinued already just because the Why Not 2 SE. This is giving you a similar cushion as far as your forefoot zone, injected Phylon. Cushion's still a little bit better than the Lebron, but because this is a little bit lighter than it, has a little bit better transition, it's very close. Traction is unbelievable as well. That's Hall of Fame level. This is maybe a step below, but still something you're really going to be able to enjoy. This is giving you a better support system, as well as this is going to fit way more people. You're not going to have an issue with heel lockdown, with any kind of wide foot issues. This is something that's going to fit way more people and give you a much similar performance of what you're looking for than what they did from the 16 to the 17, which at this point is just a severe letdown. Just absolutely lacking in almost every performance aspect. Now, if you're going to get the Lebron 17 just to rock casually because you support LeBron, you support the Lakers, definitely understand. This is one, and if you follow my rating system, either it's one I want to double up on, definitely not one. It's one I'm glad I got, I'm not, or I'm going to be returning. I played myself, and this is one, thank you Nike, we'll be heading on back. If you guys are wondering, well, Levi, can I buy it from you? Honestly, I don't recommend it to anybody. If you have a heel-to-toe strike, you're going to be able to enjoy the cushion a little bit more. If you get a really good fit on this because you have a narrow foot, then that means you have a little better fit, you have a little better cushion, but the support and traction are still lacking to a degree where it's just not worth the money, and it's not worth using on court. Off court, buy what you guys want, and it's well worth it. I have every single LeBron to date. So in the future, at a discounted price, I may get one. You may see it in my collection just as a reference, but it is definitely not one I'll be keeping in my collection. And if I do any reviews in the future or comparisons, I may come back to this video, go back to my performance notes, but it's not one I'm going to be keeping where I can play in it because there's not much I really enjoyed. Guys, girls, all my athletes out there, hopefully that helped you guys. I wish I can give a more positive report. Obviously, there's some good things to that shoe, mostly bad things. And if you're wondering, well, Levi, you didn't give it enough time, I gave the time for the cushion to break in, where it did improve some. I gave the time for the fit to break in, and the fit did get better. And all that said, it still performed like it performed. So if you guys have any questions, throw them in the comments below. I do try to answer everybody. All the support you guys gave me. If you're following me on Instagram, I had some personal things came up. Guys, girls, everyone, followers, I really do appreciate it. As always, guys, thank you so much for support. This is Levi Sneaky Gears, and I'll come at you later.